This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not. Welcome back to this Monday edition of the Warner Brothers podcast. I'm Kyle, joined by my brother Keenan, joined by Timmy G. Tim Gray, what's up, bro? How you doing?
Pretty solid. Just thinking about it, we never do Monday pods. Like during the season, there's always a Monday game on, so we never do that. And yeah, it's usually Wednesday or like a weekend pod, but never Monday.
No, it's it's not a day we typically frequent, but we're here.
Funny story. I don't know if it was about probably 4 years ago, we used to do Monday pods, and we'd have to cram them in before the Monday Night Football game. So we do them at like 6 p.m., and it was always kind of a shit show to get it done, like right before 8:30. So it would always end up a 6:45 show, really.
Yeah, it was an interesting, and sometimes it really depended on the game too. If it was a Saints Panthers, we weren't rushing to it and it was fine. But then there would be the time where it's like, oh, Chief Bills, and you're like, come on, gotta. Oh well, we had more topics, but see you guys later.
True story.
Just want to say this real quick. We're gonna have an NFL show, but UConn Duke last night. Oh boy.
Let's talk about this a little bit, because Keenan, you like your college basketball. Tim, I know you like March Madness. That was actually, so funny story. So last Thursday, as you know, Keenan, we record at 9 with Is the Hype Real podcast. And at the same time, I think 9:45 was the Arizona-Arkansas game. And I was like, I like A-Cuff. I was like, I like A-Cuff. I haven't seen any college basketball. I was like, I'll put that game on while I'm recording, and then I'll catch it after. Like, by the time we're done, it should be like halfway through the first half, right?
Yep.
Exactly what I said happens. Actually, by the time we finished recording, it was halftime. It was like 10:30. It was a little after. Yeah, it was a little after 10, so it was a little later. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to bed. I'm not even going to watch this game. Like, all momentum was lost. I did not feel like watching it. Yesterday, Duke UConn's on, and I just happened to look at my phone, and it's like 3 minutes left. I think it was a 4-point game at that point. And I'm like, this seems like a good time to make my first debut for college basketball this year. And I'm glad I made that decision, because I did get to see the wildness that ensued at the end, the madness, if you will.
What a Duke fans last year, they comeback loss. Our team came back on them. Cooper Flagg misses the 15-foot fadeaway. That was a really good look for him. Final Four could get to the national championship game. And then this year looks like, oh, we're about to go get back to our last Final Four, and our next Final Four, rather. And UConn said, nah. And then Cam Booster pass tip, pulled from 35 and shot it with Steph Curry confidence and hit it. Like, man, oh man. That's why it's called March Madness. And shout out to UConn, who's in the Final Four, and over the last 4 years only have lost to Florida. I want to say they're 17-1 in the tournament over the last 4 years, which is insane. If they can pull this one out, which I don't know. I don't know if they're getting to it, but whoever they play with in Michigan or Arizona is a buzzsaw, so I don't know if they're getting there. But yeah, we'll see. But we'll talk more about that when it comes around. I just wanted to mention that because that game was crazy. That moment was crazy.
Tim, what are your thoughts on the college basketball tournament thus far?
I've noticed over the last 2 years that they're getting pretty good at picking the seeds like nearly correct. Like this is the second year in a row where final 8 teams was like mostly 1 and 2 seeds. Like that just seems to be a pretty common theme right now.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas that wasn't always the case. I feel like it was always like, yeah, there was like 1 and 2 seeds, and then there's just like a 5 and a 7 and a 6 and a 10. And, you always have that Cinderella. I feel like all the Cinderellas just fade out in like Sweet 16. They don't even make it to the Sweet 16. it's like at the point now where we're calling like 9 seed Cinderella stories, but that's like not even a bad seed to have in the tournament. I don't know. I saw your text because I wasn't watching the game, but I saw your text and my immediate reaction was like, okay, I don't even know what game he's talking about, but I'm just going to go on Instagram and I'm just going to hit refresh until I see the clip. And it was like the third refresh popped right up pretty much from half court. It was a deep shot. Nothing to like 0.3 on the clock. What are you doing? You're putting it up, of course. My favorite reaction is Duke's bench. If you just look at the coach, he's just like, damn,
Yeah,
like he knows.
John
knows.
Shire. He was pointing. It was this.
Yeah, he's like, no.
It was this. It was look.
He's like, and just turn around, like, yeah, we're fucked.
He didn't even signal timeout. They just knew time. Just like, all right.
Their reaction's better than UConn celebrating. Like, it's just so much.
And then Dan Hurley's out here headbutting.
Okay, I saw a post on that too, and it's like, it's good that they didn't give him a tech because it's like heat of the moment. I can kind of understand the scenario, but that's a tech worthy play. Like,
yeah,
you didn't headbutt the ref, but you really got in his face. Like, of course that's a tech worthy play. But it's funny. It is funny.
Yeah, I saw that clip and that probably should be a tech. But the other part of it is someone else described it. Like the ref was actually talking to him, like to break down the situation after the, like if there was a timeout or whatever. So the ref was talking to him. So it was all incidental. But if you just looked at that without context, it really just looks like Dan Hurley's just friggin' staring him down, mean mugging him, and headbutting him. So it definitely looks like it should be a tech.
I had assumed that like at some point the ref made a bad call and he was like doing that to be like, see, I don't even need you, ball don't lie type deal. Like, we won anyways, like eat that, and then walked away. That's what it looks like when you, well, like you said, when you get no context and all you see is that. It looks like he damn near headbutts the guy. Like, Jesus.
He's hilarious.
College coaches are a different type of psycho.
He is a polarizing coach. Like a lot of people hate him, and then people who love him for the success, but a lot of people do not like him at all. But hey, it comes with the territory. But anyways, Kyle has some NFL topics, so let's get into it.
I do have some NFL topics. We had time again on this Monday, so I'm like, oh, an NFL show would be a good thing to slide in here. I mean, we've talked about free agency, and we're at that weird point in the season where the new league year has technically started. The draft is in about a month, a little less than a month, about 3.5 weeks. So, that's going to take up all the talk for NFL from here on then. And then, after that, it might be trade season. So I don't know. It's an interesting point in the offseason. Today, they actually had the coaches meeting, which is always like a big social media day because you get the coaches picture and everyone just like dissects everyone's face. So that one always makes me laugh. Fellas, any thoughts before we get into this? Any overwhelming thoughts of this offseason so far?
The NFL offseason always comes to me in 3 waves, which is the initial wave during like the beginning of free agency where there's so many moves. I'm like, oh my goodness, this happened, this happened, this happened. And then it's the NFL draft wave. And then it's preseason where I forgot that half the moves happened. And then I'm like, oh my God, that did happen. And it's because it happened so far apart, which is why when I was talking about, I was like, Tariq Woolen's going to be one of those moves. They're like, he went where? And you're going to like, it's literally going to be like a week 3. Like when did he go there? I didn't even notice that. So, which is why I thought it was one of the best underrated moves because you're going to see and you're like, oh, that's a really impactful player that they got on the low essentially. But this is one of those points where I'm so caught up in March Madness and NBA where I'm like, the thoughts aren't there at the moment. Like the thoughts aren't there, but I do love this time of year. My thoughts aren't like locked into the NFL.
Pretty much agree with what Keenan said there. There's like these dips where it's like right now we're in a dip where it's like we don't have a ton of NFL news, so we kind of don't hyper focus on it. I mean, I've seen a few things from the coaches meeting. They talked about 18-week season. Seems like there's a little bit of support for that. Robert Kraft said like there's a lot of stipulations. Like if we do 18, there's got to be like a bunch of other things that need to happen as well. Hey, I'd be for an 18-week season if the players were for it, and the players will only be for it if you do things like add in an extra bye, and now your contracts can get bigger because you have an extra week of the season and things like that, better incentives and stuff like that. It might be
Yep.
worth it for them. So um, I'd be all for it. One more week of football, can't go wrong with that. Because as it is, preseason's not really football at this point. Like from the Hall of Fame game up until week 1, there isn't any actual football on. It's just practicing, OTAs, all that stuff. So, but yeah.
And as Kyle's famously said, at this point, the first 4 weeks of the season is preseason as well. So
Essentially, and Tim, that was actually one of my topics. So we're going to start there, and you've kind of just expressed your opinion about the 18-game schedule. I have my own thoughts on it for sure. Keenan, how would you feel? Let me get this out of the way. As Tim said, there's momentum. I think this is interesting. So the 2028 Super Bowl, there is no date yet for that Super Bowl, which they usually have these dates 4 years out. You know what I mean? There is no
I
set
think
date.
it's in Vegas.
Vegas is 29 for 28.
That's the one I saw.
28, I can't remember where it is, but it might be Atlanta, but
Okay.
there's no set date, which they usually have a date. So people are thinking that potentially 26 could be the last season of a 17-game season. That would be next season that we get the full 18. How would you, in theory, Keenan, how would you feel about that?
I don't like it, really. I understand it's more football and things, but call me old school. I prefer a 16-game season.
I prefer an 11-game season. That was when we were in the glory days.
No, it's more so just the thing where I don't know. I don't need more regular season games. I really don't. I really don't. I'm fine with this. I was fine with the 16. I'm fine at 17. It gets to a point. Obviously, every game still matters because it's only. I mean, it really only you're adding one more game, but it's a sample size that's so small. It's not like it's baseball where it's it's 162. But the more and more of a sample size you add, the less and less the games will matter on a game-to-game basis, because teams now can possibly start 0-3 and come back and make the playoffs. Where 0-3 was a detriment, you're not making the playoffs. You're just call yourself out of it. You're not doing it. And now teams can do that. Well, in some cases, that could be cool. Maybe say Chiefs next year, Mahomes doesn't get going early, but by the end of this year, we feel like, hey, the Chiefs are one of the 14 best teams in the league. In an 18-week season, they'd be able to make the playoffs possibly. In a 16-week season, it's too little too late early on. So I just feel like I like that sense of having to start the year really good, because that's the only sport really that you have to start great for your team to actually have a successful season. Football, that is, because of college the same way.
Tim, you just said that you're pro 18 games. Expand on why you're pro 18 games. What do you think are the positives we could get from an 18-game NFL season?
I'm actually pretty biased here. The only reason, other than watching football, more meaningful football at least, would be for fantasy football. That's a pretty good thing to get an extra weekend, so can't really go wrong with that. I do agree with Keenan what he's saying there. As we're adding more and more games, we're kind of diluting the good teams, and we're also kind of getting rid of the chances of a team like the Patriots, what they did, where they almost went 18-0, 19-0. You're not going to get that with an 18-game season. You'd have to go 20-0. That's damn near impossible. So
insane.
It does make sense to not do it. How about this? How about we go back to 16 games, but then we do a play-in tournament? I feel like that'll fix everything right here. Play-in tournament, 18. Or we just go double elimination bracket style and just 40 playoff games. I don't care. But that does make a good point. If we went to 18, Joe Burrow would never be ruled out for a season because they would always have a chance to make it with that extra game. They'd always be playing. He could tear his ACL and they wouldn't put him on IR because he's always got that chance to come back.
It's one of those things where I just feel it gets to a point where what is too much? It's almost like I don't want to ever feel like finally, and then the NFL season's over. Like I don't want to ever feel like it's too long. And obviously the NFL is so good that, but at some point, if you got like 21 weeks of football, I'd be like, when the playoffs come, like, what are we doing? Like, this is taking too long. Obviously, that's an over exaggeration, but I just don't want to ever get to a point where I think and feel like, come on, like I'm kind of glad the Super Bowl's here. I kind of want it to be done. Like I'm okay with it because like sometimes in the NBA season, you're like, can we just get to April? I just want to get to April. And then obviously you're locked in for 2 months. But at some point, I just don't want it ever to feel like, can we just get to January because we need to get to the playoffs? I just don't want that feeling ever.
Yeah, man. I have so many thoughts on this. And Keenan illustrated what my thoughts really would be as far as like I missed the 16 games. I remember when it first went to 17. Was that 2021?
Thanks.
Seems like it was. Seems
I
like
feel like
maybe
it was
COVID.
before COVID, I thought.
Was it?
I think so.
We'll get our research team on that, but it's been recent history.
Started in
I remember.
2021.
Was it
Started in
21?
2021. About collective bargaining in 2020.
I remember when it happened, it was just weird because it's like, all right, 16 was literally perfect. You're either 8-8, you're above 8-8, you're below 8-8. Like it was cut and dry, you know? And then 17 felt weird. And then as I've said a number of times on this podcast, like once we get to late December and it's like, oh, we still have 3 more weeks, that season really does seem long. And as Keenan said, and this is kind of the cool thing about the 17-game season and then what would be an 18-game season. I do kind of like that if you do start 0-3, 0-4, you're not out of it. That is the cool part about it. That even happened in 16-game seasons. Obviously, it was tougher. So that part I do like about it. But like Keenan just said, 20 weeks, right? Let's call it that, 20 weeks. Super Bowl was about 6 weeks ago. Tomorrow is the last day of March.
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl will be around February 20th in a 20-game season. So now we're talking about like 5 weeks ago. Imagine that if we're doing the same podcast and the Super Bowl was just 5 weeks ago. That's a hell of a long season.
Like NBA All-Star Weekend and the Super Bowl might be the same weekend. Like the NBA would move it. The NBA would move it because they're like, we're not competing with this. Like no one's gonna watch. But like in theory, it's the same weekend.
Don't put anything past Adam Silver.
You're not wrong. Be like, well, we're gonna have a joint. We're gonna have a joint. Weekend.
We're actually gonna have Myles Garrett play in the NBA All-Star game.
So, and then we're gonna actually try to have LeBron play in the Pro Bowl and see how it works. But yeah,
not a lot of love for Adam Silver here. If you're telling me it's 2 things about it, all of September you'd have, all of October, all of November, all of December regular season games. And then you're talking 2 weeks in January for regular season on top of playoffs, on top of the week in between the Super Bowl. Like it's just a lot. And of course, the bright side of this is we do finally, like it would fall on President's Day Monday, right? The following Monday would after the Super Bowl. So we would finally get that holiday weekend for the Super Bowl that people have proclaimed for years. That's cool. I can't think of anything more American than that. But man, we see how injuries affect in the 17-game season. It already feels drastic. Now you're saying 18 games over 20 weeks. That's more injuries. And to me, it means shorter careers. That's the downside of it. You already got short careers in the NFL. So it's scary. It seems like it's going to happen. So it seems like it's going to be the new normal. But it does seem like if the players reject it, that we'd just be stuck on 17 forever, which is also weird. So,
and the thing I'm just thinking about it. Obviously, if you're going to 18 weeks, you have to add 18 games. You have to add 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I mean, you take away, obviously. Yeah, but I know what you're saying. Like I just like was registering. You kept saying 20 weeks. I was like, wait a second. But I was like, oh yeah, because if you're adding another bye, you have to actually take into account the 2. So obviously preseason's got to be shorter. You got to like cut out. But even then, like, I don't know. I don't love it. But we don't have.
It's going to lead to some bad and sloppy football in the first 5 or 6 weeks, which we already have. But if we're cutting another preseason game or just cutting preseason altogether, I don't know. Hey, you'll see more of us on here. That's for damn sure. You'll get plenty of football content. But at that point, we would damn near become an NFL show because NBA would have like 6 weeks after February 20th.
Yeah, we'd pick it up right after All-Star break and be like, we'll figure it out.
Well, next topic. And I'm actually going to throw this in here. This actually wasn't on my list. I kind of cut it out because I was like, I don't want to talk about flag football. We talked about it last time, but I did see this earlier today. I don't know if you guys saw it. The NFL is like making a flag football league. So quickly on that, we don't have to spend too much time on it. Do you think this is going to be an effort to actually get NFL guys in the Olympics? And Tim, how do you feel about the flag football classic? Because you were not here when me and Keen discussed it. So we'll start with Tim.
I was interested in the flag football classic. I was more interested in seeing like how the NFL would stand up to that. I know we didn't get like an actual prime team. Like I feel like if the NFL wanted to put together a team, they wouldn't have put together the team that was put together to play in that. But I was interested to see how they'd like stack up because there was all that trash talk from the Team USA captain or whatever saying like you guys would not be able to compete with us, we would be on a different level, and he was right, they were. There were some like cool plays, but there wasn't a whole lot of like real football. I feel like there wasn't really like NFL style football, none of it was really like that. So I don't know if I'd really be interested in watching flag football. I feel like that's something that is good to have. Like if I was in the area, I would definitely go watch like Joe Burrow play on a flag football team or something like that. I might like buy a ticket to that, but I definitely probably wouldn't turn into it on like TV at all. I don't think.
Even if there's NFL guys in the
Yeah,
Olympics.
I honestly
Interesting.
don't think. And plus, like it kind of showed us this weekend or that weekend that they played. A lot of those NFL guys like don't need to be there. They're gonna be just as good without those guys. So, um, yeah, I really doubt I would watch it. But yeah.
So
What was the other question? Was there another question?
You basically answered it. You
Gotcha.
essentially answered.
So, and thought about that, I was thinking WNBA and Unrivaled because obviously we don't have like a 3-on-3 real NBA kind of style league. Obviously, there's a big three, but it's not, and it's like retired players more so rather than actual players in the league playing in it. And so the thought of I like watching 5-on-5 WNBA basketball, but I also enjoyed watching 3-on-3 basketball too. But it felt like because it feels like 3-on-3 basketball is like a like another form of basketball you grew up with and you always had. Flag seems to be more integrated as of late, obviously, because people have been worried about concussions, people are worried about health, safety, and all that. So you add flag football as like the years have gone on. So I think for us who grew up on only really tackle football, because like we played tackle football as kids and like even when we were playing playground football, it was 2-hand push was really like 2-hand like it was really 2-hand push at that point. But I think if for kids who are growing up now, if they had a flag football league, it may be something that in like 15, 20 years could catch traction. But I'm with Timmy. I don't think I'd really be tuning into it. Like I guess if it like, and he's right, if it was in town, I was like $30 to go down and watch Joe Burrow sling it, and be like, yeah, I'll go downtown and go watch that. Like, but I'm not gonna do it like, oh, I've got to go make time out of my Sunday to go watch this game. So I'm with him like 100% when he said.
Yeah, we kind of had this talk on Is the Hype Real? Shouts to those guys. They essentially said exactly what you said. I think I lean towards if there was pros, I think I'll watch it at the Olympics. If it's the team we had, I'll probably skim by it like some of the other sports that we got in the Summer Olympics. But if there are pros, like Keen, you gave a good example talking about 3-on-3. We do have men's and women's 3-on-3 in the Olympics. I have a hard time watching the men's side because it's like we had Jimmer there, but other than that, it's like former college D1 athletes. And then the women's side actually sends some WNBA players. So I'm a little more interested. I feel like we're getting, I don't know, some version of WNBA just in 3-on-3. Whereas
we had like LaMelo, Booker, and Carl Anthony Towns. I'm just naming three. That's not like obviously like Steph, Braun, all them, but like if you Melo, Book, and Karl Anthony Towns, you got me tuned in. Like I'm watching. I think that'd be fun, and I'm watching that and I also feel like 3-on-3 basketball just feels more natural than flag football. It's like the 3-on-3 is like, hey, you want to run threes, you want to run fours, you want to run like all of that just feels natural.
Yeah, flag football's definitely different. It'd be interesting with two-hand touch, though. But I don't know, like we said last time, Keenan, I'd be really, really interested. And this is what kind of catches my attention by the NFL buying this league. Obviously, it's not going to be NFL guys playing in this league. But for them to buy it, they want to do something with it. But like we were talking last time, I would really be interested, like how it would look with NFL guys, like practicing how the USA guys do, with the laterals in the backfield and actually like strategizing how that would look. Because a lot of these guys just are too big by the looks of it compared to some of the guys on their team who are slender and, doing the limbo to get out of, getting tackled or having their flag pulled. Next topic.
It'd be guys like John. I was just going to say, it'd be guys like John Ross, speedster, 4.22, 4.24 guy, just didn't pan out with the Bengals in the league. And then he goes there and kills it because he's just like an all-time, like great. He's like a great athlete, but just couldn't pan in the league because he's too small. Be a lot of those guys, which that would be interesting. But
throw Tavon Austin in there.
Yeah, like those would be the type of guys that you have. The guys that are just like gadget guys and like, hey, I could be a superstar and get paid for this, or I can just be a practice squad guy. It depends on what I want to do.
Bunch of guys that like aren't even in the league anymore could like come back. Like you said, John Ross, fast enough.
T.O. would try.
Yeah,
I know T.O. would try. Because he's
Ocho Cinco, get Tommy over there. Get Tom Brady. Tom said
he wouldn't you get good old school team.
Yeah. Tom said he wouldn't rule out being the USA quarterback in the 2028 Olympics. Not sure he'd be up for consideration, but
he was playing in that game, right? The NFL versus USA, I guess. Yeah, I thought I saw a clip.
The arm's there. The arm is still there.
The brain's still there.
The brain and the arm is still there. He just can't get hit, which good thing he's getting his flag pulled because he can play quarterback until he's 70. We just fine. He can still sling it.
Well, I didn't plan on segueing to this, but we are. You mentioned Tom Brady. Well, we mentioned Tom Brady, and we're talking about if he can still play. There was reports last week of him actually reaching out to the NFL to see if he could come back. He is 48 years old. And we'll start with Tim here. A, would you be interested? B, how well do you think he would do hypothetically? And C, do you actually think this happens down the road? Do you think he just says, fuck the ownership, the minority stake, I will sell it back, I will, whatever, so I can play? So 3 questions there.
I'll start in reverse order.
Sure.
No, I do not think it'll ever happen. I don't think Brady ever comes back. He had said that he had like flirted with the idea and he brought it up to the NFL and they told him, no, you can't do that. And I'm assuming that's basically because you are an executive now in an organization. You can't just jump back into the NFL. 2, I would not like to watch that. I feel like I agree. It's still there. Maybe the arm's still there. 1 hit would ruin him. And he's definitely not like, he's not getting any faster, so he like, it's not like anything's going to improve with him coming back. And I thought we saw the end of Brady when he was on his last run there. I thought it was pretty evident that like this was a good time to hang it up. So to get him to like unretire and come back just feels weird to me, to just like kind of pull a Michael here and run that path again. I just like, you've already had your 7 rings, just do your thing. What was the first question? Have I answered that?
You might have. I was actually thinking as you were talking, I'm like, wait, what was the first question? I think
I remember the first. Yeah, it was kind of just
essentially, are you interested?
Are you interested? It was interested. Do you think you'd do well? And do you think it'll actually happen? So you
have no. Triple no.
So do I think he's going to come back?
Real quick. If he were to come back, what do you think his stats would look like? Let's say a 10-game season. Let's say he comes back mid-season, 10 games.
He comes back mid-season.
Let me give you the situation, just so you have.
The Cleveland
Kyler Murray goes out with video games because I don't like to wish any injury on anybody. He goes out with excessive video game compulsion and can't play anymore. And so Tom Brady is dropped into a healthy Vikings roster with Kevin O'Connell in week 6. Go.
He'd probably finish with like just over, I think at the best, just over 2,000 yards. If he gets 10 games, averaging about 200 yards wouldn't be like crazy. It is Brady. It's probably less than that. It's probably like 1,800, 12 touchdowns maybe, and like 6 picks. It's not terrible, but I don't think that's like winning anything. And I don't think that's something that like Kyler Murray couldn't do if he didn't have this sore thumb disease from video game.
Yeah. So I'll answer all of those. I'll go into my hypothetical and then all of that. No, sure. I don't think he's going to come back. Yes, I would obviously be interested if he did come back. Do I think he would be good? I do think he would be good. I just think he would have to. The Tom Brady would be almost in what LeBron's doing right now, which is like, I'm going to just coast and hope my team gets to the playoffs. It's more difficult in the NFL. So obviously, like, it's not just like, oh, we can just coast throughout the season. But again, I talked with Kyle about this the other day. I think he could be top 15 for a playoff run. I think he could be perfectly fine for a playoff run. For a full season, I think it's difficult. But if you're saying, hey, weeks, say 16, 17, and 18, and then into a playoff run, we need elite quarterbacking, I think he could border on, not elite, like I think he could border very good quarterbacking, and then I think late game is just protecting. It's okay. I really do. I think he can still dissect the defense. Like, his brain didn't go anywhere, so I think he still dissects the defense well, and it looks like he can sling. And even like in Tampa, he couldn't lift a team, but even his last game, he was slinging the thing 55 or 60 yards against the Panthers down the sideline of Mike Evans. So the arm, if it's still there, it's still there. But and then so on the Vikings, if he came into that, I think statistically 18 touchdowns, 8 picks, 2,000 yards roughly. Be 2,000 yards a game, like 1.5 to 1.75 touchdowns, and about a pick a game roughly.
First of all, I would definitely be interested. Would he be good or not? I kind of go back and forth between what both of you said. And like you said, Keem, we discussed it last time we were on too. And at first I said what Tim said, like his footwork wouldn't be there as far as like just like being able to escape. But then I instantly thought about old man Rivers, who just came back, who was out of football shape, who has never had a powerful arm. And he was able to sling it against today's defense for 3 games, like pretty well, like played better than, I think it's fair to say, more than half of some of these starting quarterbacks. And Tom Brady's, like Keenan said, his arm's still there. He is in game shape, or close to game shape at least. He's at least in, amazing shape for a 48-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it could go well. And especially like the scenario Keenan presented, the Minnesota Vikings, who, have a pretty talented football team and are a well-coached team, like that, there's some upside there with Tom Brady. Of course, we'd have to see it. Maybe it just doesn't look like that at all. Will it happen? I would not be surprised, Keenan. You'll remember this because you were actually in the building. But for Michael Jordan's Hall of Fame speech, he said, I don't know about getting inducted because you might see me at 50 years old playing in the NBA one day. And the crowd obviously laughed. And Mike said, don't laugh. It just might happen. And when he turned 50, there was like actual buzz, like generated from the media, but there was like articles about MJ going back to practice and how he'd cook NBA talent, this and that. Tom Brady has flirted with this way more than MJ has in the 3-4 years he's been retired. Like, this is a topic that's come up every single year.
Better shape and better than MJ was at that point in his career. Like, for what they were.
He's still, like, he flirts with this every single year to the point where, as we said with this topic, he reached out to the NFL. He said that if this Raiders thing keeps going like unsuccessfully, which who knows, we'll see. It looks like they got the right coach in there at least. We'll see with the quarterback and everything else. Like I could see Brady saying "fuck it." Like why not? Like he clearly still has the itch. He very clearly still has the itch. Uh, Even when he's talking, he doesn't sound like a retired player. Like he badly sounds like he still wants to put pads on and get in there. I don't know for friggin' 18 games over 20 weeks. I don't know if he'd want to do all that. But the scenario we're describing, which by the way, the same scenario we brought up for Aaron Rodgers before, I could see Brady doing it on a shortened season, or like how Philip Rivers just came back in an emergency situation. I could definitely see it happening. I think it's more possible than what it seems like at the current juncture.
I hate it. Don't hate it.
All right, let's see where we want to go here. We got a few topics. Let's stay there with aging quarterbacks. I just brought up Aaron Rodgers. What's he up to? What do you think's going on with Aaron Rodgers right now?
Probably some ayahuasca.
Resort, ayahuasca.
Probably.
Hanging out with some woman in Hawaii and going to milk this thing until post draft, see what the Steelers do in the draft, and then just say, yeah, I'll come back. And the Steelers are going to have no plan at quarterback and no plan. They'll be like, okay. And then they'll go about 500 below or above, don't know, be competing for a division at best, get to the playoffs and lose. That's what's going to go on.
I think Aaron Rodgers he's waiting so that he can find an excuse not to come back to the Steelers next year. Like Keenan said, maybe they draft somebody and then he's like, I'm not playing with that guy. I don't know. I just feel like I think he already made his decision. Like, I think he knows what he's doing. He's either playing or he's not, and he's just milking it. He likes some sort of attention. More people asking him, hey, Aaron, what are you doing next season? The better for him. It seemed like at the end of the season, when they interviewed him in his last game, he was not done. He was, committed to returning, especially he was talking about how, this season wasn't quite what he expected and how it like kind of brought his love for the game back and stuff like that. So I think he's not done. I think he's coming back, but he is trying to find an excuse not to come back. But either way, he can come make some money. He'll do it. He'll be back.
Think he'll be back as well. Sounds like he wants what, 30 million for one season. I don't know if that's just a rumor. I mean, probably is just a rumor. But
fuck it.
Doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it's a 1-year thing and on to next year.
That's true. It's true. You could convince me of this going well with Aaron Rodgers if he does come back to the Steelers. I mean, I said last year, like, I don't love the thought of him or any aging quarterback being in the AFC North or, playing in Pittsburgh. Like, ideally, like if he was on the Falcons, I'd feel much better about him. That being said, the offense already looks better than last year. They've got receivers. They already had 1 million tight ends. We'll see what the run game looks like, and we'll see how the draft goes. Mike McCarthy's established, like, there's a world where this goes pretty damn well, and at least better than last year, and they made it to the playoffs last year. So I'm willing to wait it out. I'm willing to see it out, I should say. I agree with Tim. He's just going to milk this, and by the time we get to May, probably by Memorial Day, he'll have made his decision. It's pretty clear he's coming back. If he wasn't coming back, he would have told us already. I think it's a matter of if he actually stays with the Steelers or if he's going to do the scenario we've mentioned pretty much since the playoffs last year, which is like him doing the Tom Brady, 10 games somewhere else, filling in for an injured quarterback. I could absolutely see him doing that. So
this is going to be his last dance on the Steelers. This is going to hopefully be their last dance, but they don't actually have the 5 championships leading into it. They just have about 5 years or plus of a lot more years of just not being successful in the playoffs. And they're going to go in and them winning a playoff game will be like them winning the Super Bowl. And then let's move on from the team who's getting older by the day. So I'm thrilled
that
about
defense
this move.
The defense is especially old, which is
they're just going to continue to get more and more into their 30s and less trade value. And at some point, you've got to just start moving pieces. And if you're going to have everyone and they're making moves like, hey guys, we We get Aaron Rodgers. We compete with anybody. Glad they're feeling. I'm glad they're feeling that.
I'm going to go back to a topic that this was supposed to be the initial start topic along with the 18 games. It has to do with the schedule. We talked about it briefly in the group chat. The NFL opener is going to be on Wednesday of this year instead of Thursday for reasons that remain unclear. Then we will have a Thursday game, which is going to be the international game, which was the last 2 years, your annual Thursday start, and then Friday in Brazil, which was kind of cool. I kind of digged it. Not really sure how I feel about a Wednesday game because, again, I have no idea what the point of this Wednesday game is. No idea at all. Seems like it affects the schedule. So Wednesday, Thursday, no Friday game. Then we'll have games on Sunday. Keenan, how do you feel about that?
I'm such an old man. I'm just realizing more and more old. It's just too many days. It's just too much sometimes. It's like every single
Thursday night football.
Yeah, like it's just like, and like in one sense, it's like, oh, you don't go days without football. I'm gonna be happy during the time in my betting times, and I'm gonna be happy when I'm just sitting at home and I can watch football. And so, like in those moments, right then and there, I'm gonna be like, this is fine. But in my old man mindset that it is on March 30th for some reason, I'm just like, well, what do we need to get every single day of football on? We don't need a Wednesday, just Thursday. Seahawks versus somebody. I'm good with it. And then you know what? I don't need a Friday game. I don't need a Saturday game. Thursday, and then it's Super Sunday. And you watch everything and you're just elated football is back. And then you have your doubleheader on Monday Night Football. Like I think sometimes we mess with a good thing. And I understand you want to go more places and then more networks want to do this and that. And I don't need to. It's the same thing with the NBA sometimes. I don't feel like the need to go to Peacock, to Netflix, to this, to that, to watch a game. Like just there's a couple places and we're okay. But anyway, that's my old man rant for the moment.
I think I pretty much agree. I think the thing with it is like you get Monday, Thursday, Sunday. You get this like suspense that builds up, right? You finish on Monday, but then there's a few days off, and then Thursday's like a big deal. And then there's a few days off, and then Sunday's a big deal. When you go Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, Monday, it's just like back to back to back to back to back, less suspense. So we're less hyped for these games. It would work better if it was Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Monday, but they've kind of fully branded Thursday Night Football. That's what everybody knows. So that would never happen. If it's like a one-off thing, like this is how we're opening the season up, is trying to get as many primetime games as possible, I'm fine with that. Like the first week of the season, I think we're actually going to be like, thank God, now football's on, and we're actually going to like it because we're going to get multiple primetime games and we're going to have stuff to talk about. So I think if this is like a one-time thing, that'll be fine. But if they start doing this just like randomly, doesn't really work. It works in the first week because all these teams are now coming from the off season into this. It's not like, well, you played Sunday, guess what? Now you're playing Wednesday, or oh, you played Thursday. Well, now you don't play till next Wednesday. That's not happening for the first week, so it's fine. I think it'll be okay. But like I said, just don't let it turn into like every fourth week is this weird Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday games, because it gets really confusing once we get into the playoffs. We have, Saturday, Sunday playoff games. It's already confusing as it is. So I agree with Keenan. I think less days is better. Build up suspense, build up hype. Let the teams in a primetime spot have their primetime spot and not get overshadowed by the Thursday night game that's going to happen right after the Wednesday night game. So
that's still good to have dialogue too. Like it's the NFL is such a great sport, and it's like every play feels like it has a little bit of suspense to it because obviously, I mean, you can go no huddle, but like you're still waiting, and then you're going, waiting, you're going. It's not the same as baseball when in those big moments where every pitch you're like, what is going to happen? But at the same time, you build suspense throughout the entirety of the game, and it's nice that it's not just back to back to back. Like when it comes to oh, here's this, oh, here is that, oh, here's this game, oh, here's that game. You actually get to kind of build the anticipation for it. I guess I just like building anticipation more, and I think less is more a lot of the time. And sometimes it just feels like they're starting to almost oversaturate. It's the same thing with the 18 game, and it's like we don't need too much. I just don't want to get sick of football. That's really what it comes down to, and I don't want it to feel like every single night, like, and it's cool, but like at sometimes it's like, hold up, hold up. But yeah, that's my thought.
Well, that's my biggest thing with this is okay, every decision the NFL makes with these international games, with these YouTube games, it's all a money grab. Which is
Yeah.
why I'm so dismayed with it on the NBA side. Like, that's one thing I'll give the NFL. The fact that they do the YouTube TV games, the Netflix games, they at least market it well enough to where everyone gets it by the time those games are around. It's like, okay, these games are on Netflix, which the NBA could give a fuck less about. Like, they just, it's unbelievable what they've done with their marketing. My thing with this, the biggest thing is, and I haven't gotten an answer for this. Why is it on Wednesday? I don't think it's going to be a regular thing. I don't think we're going to get regularly Wednesday night football. But why are we starting the season on a Wednesday? What is the big deal about moving it up one day from Thursday and Friday to Wednesday and Thursday? I just don't understand it. It just seems silly, and it's concerning only because of the whole schedule part to me. So now this team, the two teams that play on Wednesday, either they're going to play on the following Thursday, which is cool, but you could have just kept it Thursday, so you get 7 days off like everyone else, or you're getting 11 full days off until the next Sunday or the next Monday, whenever they play. Just seems silly. I don't understand it. And then on top of that, as you guys well know, it seemed like every day, like before free agency, seemed like, I'm not kidding, every day it seemed like I was getting a notification about NFL is going to Mexico City, NFL is going to Spain. Like, it seems like we're going to have legit like 10 international games this year, which is, again, a complete money grab and terrible for scheduling. I think it's such a disadvantage for the teams that got to go overseas in the middle of the season. But that was the main reason I brought up this topic for Wednesday is why is it being moved to Wednesday? And neither one of you guys seem to have that answer. And I just haven't heard that overall. Like, it just seems like they're just doing it just to fucking do it, which is annoying. Again, we're all going to watch. We're all going to love it. But it seems very annoying and unnecessary.
Yeah, it really is unnecessary. Sometimes it's good to just keep things as they are. Like, I'm fine with keeping things as they are. I'm always about progression, and I think going overseas a couple times a year is cool. Like, I think that's fine, but I don't think we need to go on a Beatles tour of the NFL. Like, oh man, we got to stop in Madrid. We got to stop in Paris. Oh, let's go hit Tokyo. Guys, we haven't been here yet. Let's go to Australia or New Zealand. Then we'll head back. Like, we don't need the tour.
Insane. Do it for preseason. Do that shit in preseason.
Do it for preseason, and then maybe make it so 2 cities or 2 countries a year get like a game. Like, make it a spectacle and like rotate it in between, so like they actually build it up a little bit more. If you're gonna do it, you don't need to have it 2 games. Each team goes on a bye after that week, so you don't have to worry about rest. You don't have to worry about anything travel wise and all that stuff, and you just move.
Just wait. We're talking about these 18-game seasons. Wait till you see the international games we get when it moves to 18 over 20 weeks. It's going to be like every week. Eventually, it will be every week.
Closer and closer to building for an overseas team. Like, it just feels like we're inching our way there. I hope not. I
don't think it's possible, to be honest with you.
I don't put anything out of realm of possibility anymore for some reason, but I hope it's not. I really hope. I think that'd be stupid.
I'm shocked they haven't. And they could do this at least. I'm shocked we haven't had an international Super Bowl. You could easily make that happen with all the soccer stadiums we have. You're pricing out the American fans anyway. Like, the Super Bowl is just a complete corporate event rather than it is for football fans. So why not fucking have it in Australia or one of these places in a dome overseas?
I'm shocked we haven't even talked
about that yet.
That would actually be sick.
Would be kind of cool.
That makes more sense because it's a one-time, one-off spectacle where both teams are not at a disadvantage. Like, I just always, it sucks when you have these teams at a disadvantage, especially in such a small sample size sport. So it's like, oh, the Jags have been overseas for 2 weeks now, and then this random team just played on Sunday. They've got to catch a flight, go over there, get their body adjusted, play at 9 a.m. with our time, which is really their time differently. It's just one of those things where I don't like it for that. But again, as you said, Super Bowl, we get a week off in between anyway. That would be sick. That'd be sick.
And now Kim Jong-un for the ceremonial coin flip for the North Korean
And
NFL
he's
team.
playing quarterback.
And he
For both
flips it
teams.
with his machete, with his Naginta.
I've not heard of I just now heard Nagenta for the first time. That was my first time hearing that word ever. So you guys want to talk draft?
You talk draft.
Let's talk. All right, real quick. This will be quick. And maybe I could have saved this for a few weeks down the line. It's a simple question. Tim, if you were running, who is it, the Raiders? Raiders got the number one
Raiders
pick? Yes,
won.
Raiders. If you were running the Raiders, who would you pick number one overall?
I would take Fernando. I think he is a good enough a prospect. I think this isn't necessarily like a home run can't miss pick, not at all. Especially for a franchise like the Vegas Raiders, like they could nail that pick and then mess every other pickup in the draft. They've been, if it's funny, if you go look at their first round picks from the last like 15 years and you just look at the next person drafted, they fucked up every single pick. Like they could have had Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. They just continuously mess up picks. This one is kind of just like, I think it's locked and loaded. That's what they're doing. They're getting a quarterback. I think it makes sense. I think he can be a QB. Like, I think his peak is like what Trevor Lawrence is right now, which definitely isn't necessarily like a Super Bowl winning QB or anything, but that's a QB that they haven't had since like one season with Derek Carr. So you kind of can't mess with that. You kind of just take your guy, hope to get a better pick later on, or better picks later on in the second round. Or sucks that they didn't get that extra pick from the Ravens. That would have actually been really nice this year. They could have taken their wide receiver right there and they would have been fine. But I think you just take Mendoza, you just make the pick that you should make. And that's what I think they should do, is make that pick and go on from there.
I'm in full agreement.
Before Kean goes, I want to flip it back to Tim, because you said that's what they should do. But the question was, you had full control of the Raiders, because you just said, I don't think Mendoza's a slam dunk pick here. If you had full control and it was your pick, you get to send it into Roger Goodell. Would you go a different way about it? Would you have a completely different process?
I think the two options that I would be considering are, let's take Mendoza, let's get our QB, and let's play for at best a 500 to maybe 9-win season next year, and then take our pick next year and slowly get better and better. Or we trade out of this pick and we get a haul, and we pull a Chicago Bears where we get 2 extra firsts and a player, and then we get an extra second. And now we can actually look towards next year, where next year we're going to have a handful of Mendozas in that draft. And I think if that's the case, that would probably be a better start. You know, if you trade back to the mid first, you could still get potentially like great wide receivers. Carnell Tate, you could get Mekhi Lemon's probably going to be there, like a ton of these good wide receivers. And then next year you take your quarterback. Now the problem with that is you can't really do that now because they've already traded Geno. So like they know they're taking the QB. Those are the only two options in my mind that I would be considering, are take Mendoza or we trade. We're not using this pick on next best available because it's just not worth it at that point. We could trade back to 5 and still get next best available in our minds.
So that would be the two routes you have to go. I would agree. And mine would be Mendoza. Reason why I would go Mendoza if this was me is, if I'm the Raiders, what I'm searching for is stability. And I think that Mendoza has a lot of stability as a human being, more so than just a quarterback. I think he has the potential to be my mind comp for him not play style the same because he's different, but my mind comp is Jared Goff. Just not a guy who you're like, oh, that's going to be the best quarterback in the league ever, but oh, that's a franchise guy who you put the right team around him can get it done. So that's what I think Mendoza is. And Goff is just a professional, goes out there, does his job every day. There's no problems in the locker room. He's a great guy in the locker room. So that's Mendoza. His energy is infectious. And I think he could be a very good stability piece for the Raiders. And that's what they need right now. So I would take Mendoza with the 1 pick. But if they had to go with another option, it would just be trading back, because I would try to get a haul for maybe one of the guys who may have higher potential, but some of the guys next year might have a lower floor than Mendoza. I think Mendoza, not bust proof, because everybody is, but it can be a bust, but I think he's going to be just like, at worst, probably just a solid quarterback. And I think at best, he's a Goff level guy.
I asked that question because the content I am consuming about this draft, or when I am hearing about this draft, everyone is saying Jeremiah Love is the best player in this draft. Probably he is the best prospect, which is fine. I think the reason why I think it's such an interesting question from the Raiders' perspective is because, yes, they don't have a quarterback. Okay, fine. But also they're, without a doubt, with Mendoza, without him, and who knows, we'll see, but they're likely the worst team in that division anyway. My thought is, why can't you, if you trade out of that pick, fine, yeah, get a haul for it. You could probably get a decent quarterback second day, third round, something like that. But if you're still going to be bad anyway, and you're still going to be picking in the top 10 next year anyway, possibly, again, we don't know, but why not take your chances in next year's draft? Always wonder that with the NFL, because people make such a stink, rightfully so, about, how quarterback, we see teams just get it wrong and wrong over and over and over and over and over again, right? If you get it wrong from a position player perspective, it's usually on the player. I feel like from a quarterback, though, it's such a combination of fit, coach, everything else. So I don't know. I'm just surprised that more people, or how many people, and maybe I shouldn't be surprised by this, are just like, yeah, take Mendoza, even though he might be, like Keenan said, he could be just league average. And he does seem like a leader, and he does seem like he could be the right fit. But I don't know. They just seem like they could be in position to be bad this year. So why not take your chances down the road on top of getting a draft haul for that number 1 pick? But we have these questions and topics every year when it comes to the draft. And it always fascinates me, because I feel like there's no rush with certain guys, especially these type of drafts where it's like, all right, we'll take the best quarterback available because we need a quarterback. Well, that could still set you back 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, you could still just be in the same spot you are 2 years from now.
Mendoza, I actually think, is still one of the best players in this draft. And it's not like, he's the 11th best player. So, but he's a quarterback, so he's at 1. No, and I know, because you're right. There are years where it's like he might be on the board as the 15th best player, but he's a quarterback, so we got to take him top 4. And so, like, I think that he is one of the best players within this draft still. And then I think he fits culture, need, and everything with the Raiders, and what I just think it's stability. You've got Brock Bowers, you've got Ashton Genty, you've got a good left tackle. And I think from there you start to build this thing up. So,
well, let me ask you this about the prospects then, because you guys are college football guys way more than me. Who is a prospect, or who is a player in this draft who you guys like? I'll give you an example, Keenan. You'll like this. If you would have asked me, Keenan, in that Derrick Rose, Michael Beasley draft, I loved both of them. But if you would have just told me, like, Michael Beasley is going to be an 8-time All-Star, like, that's his, like, that'll just be his middle ground, like, I would have completely believed it. I was all in on Michael Beasley. Like, without a doubt, I was like, at the worst, he will be, I don't know, an All-Star level player. And he didn't even get to be that. Had a long NBA career, but I would have died on that. So who?
Best one-on-one player in the world, though.
Might just be. He says he's beating LeBron at 1-on-1.
That doesn't shock me.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Who will be your players that you're like, all right, even if he's not a Hall of Famer, even like, I'm going to die on him just being a 15-year pro. Like, this guy will, or, 10-year pro, but this guy will be a starter. He'll be productive. Like, worst comes to worst, you cannot miss with him. Obviously, we can go Jeremiah Love or someone like that, but who's someone else that you just think, worst comes to worst, like he's going to be a starter. He will be in the league. Like there's no way this guy has bust potential at all. We'll start with you, Keenan.
Caleb Downs. Whoever he goes to, like he could arguably be, he's the best, to me, arguably the best defensive player in this draft. I think since 2 years ago, he's been a guy that I've just circled. It was the last time I felt about a defensive guy, like his type of position, was Derwin James. I saw him at Florida State, and I was like, he is 6'3" and an athlete. I was like, and I watched it again. I was like, yeah, no, he's going to be, there's nothing about him that's not going to translate to the NFL. And the thing with him is he's translated. Sometimes he hasn't always lived up to his potential, like season to season, but overall, Derwin James is still a very good football player. I think Caleb Downs is just, wherever he goes, doesn't matter. Situation doesn't matter. He's just going to be a guy. He's like, if he has a Harrison Smith career, I'm going to be like, okay. It doesn't shock me. Caleb Downs is that guy for me.
It's funny because Downs came to mind. Carnell Tate comes to mind. I think he can just be a stud wide receiver. And if he's just like a wide receiver too, like a T. Higgins on like any of these good teams, I think that could be just crazy. Like whatever team
has the Rams taking him, which Puka and Carnell
with Devontae still there. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Watch out!
Filthy.
I do like Arvil Reese though. Like it's funny that all three of those guys played on the same team.
Yeah.
So I think all three of them, like you said, you still can't go wrong with Jeremiah Love, like barring like career-ending injury. This guy
I didn't just mention him because he's gonna be.
He's going to be a Pro Bowler a handful of times without a doubt. So probably the pick to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think people will be picking him over Mendoza for sure.
I might pick Tate if he does go to LA, though. I'm not gonna. That might be the trendy pick, to pick Tate if he can be across from Puka, and with Devontae being a slot guy. Oh, boy,
I've heard a lot about Kenyon Sadiq too, and this whole like tight end effect that's happened over the last few years, where if you're a tight end drafted in the first round, you just like succeed. Brock Bowers, Tyler Warren, Trey McBride was a second round pick, but he was like really close.
Loveland played really well last year.
Loveland was very good. And he has like that athletic profile to get there. It really just matters where he goes. If he's anywhere as a number 2, then it just kind of kills his momentum. But I hear a lot of great things about him. The one that I think is a bust, is that a question coming up? Am I like spoiling something?
Not
about busts? I think Mekhi Lemon. I think Mekhi Lemon is a bust, and I think he's not going to succeed wherever he goes. I think he's a head case, and I think it's just he doesn't have the attitude to play in the NFL. Whereas a guy like Ruben Bain is like the attitude you want to play in the NFL. Like he is like, I'm an NFL player. I am bred to play in the NFL. I will do whatever it takes. Whereas Mekhi Lemon is like kind of fucking off in drills and not really listening to people and kind of like, oh, I'm better than you, really cocky attitude. So I think he'll be a bust for sure. I'm stamping that right here.
Keen, do you have anybody you want to stamp as a bust?
Stamp as a bust offhand, honestly, I don't. I honestly don't have anybody I want to stamp, but that mindset that you were talking about is, to go back to what we were talking about before, is the reason why I think Mendoza is going to succeed, because he's legitimately willing to do, like, that championship game was, oh, you need me to put my entire body and rib cage on the line for this? Yeah, I'll do it. No hesitation, no thought. I'm just going to do whatever. You go up to him, he's bleeding all over, and it looks bloody, bruised up. He's like, yeah, I'm just out here trying to win, trying to be here for my team, my teammates that came here. It's like, okay, if you're going to do this on the field, you go do you. So, no, I'm 100% with you, though, Tim, like when it comes to that kind of mindset. So.
Still waiting on NFL teams to take my strategy and just take as many quality quarterbacks over the course of however many years. If like you have one that's not completely the answer, you know. Couple questions here as we wind down, guys. As I mentioned, it's March 30th as we speak. By the way, just got a notification as I was talking, Seahawks will be on Hard Knocks this year if you guys are interested in that.
Patriots will be featured on the 2027 Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I wish we would have got that when Belichick was there. That would have been must see TV. Belichick on Hard Knocks. They won, or we couldn't be on there. So, um, March 30th, as we've said multiple times, we're about a month before the draft. Weird part of the offseason. Don't know what the teams look like yet. That being said, is there any teams that you guys, and we'll start with Tim, is there any teams that you're already got this feeling like, I kind of like this team. I don't even know what the draft looks like. I don't know, if there's a trade down the road, but I kind of like this team.
It's really tough because I want to say the Giants, but I'm like not allowed to. But I feel like a lot of people would say the Giants. I think a lot of people would say that with Harbaugh there and all the pieces that they have, this year's draft could absolutely, like whatever piece they get could be the game changer that they need. Trying to just really brainstorm really quickly. The Titans are interesting, but absolutely not liking what's going on there. Like, I believe in Cam Ward, and I think Wandale's a good piece there. And they have the pick to get a game changer there.
Yeah. Would you go Love if he's there?
Probably not. And he will be there, I think.
See, I think I would.
I think so.
I'm in the.
They probably will. That probably will be what happens, but
I'm in explosion and putting butts in seats.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
That's
lie to you. That's like, I'm in that mindset now where I'm like, Love and Cam Ward and getting a guy who can receive out of the backfield like that too.
True.
And if they did that, that would actually be my team. Talk about it, but go on, Kyle. Or go on, Tim.
Thanks. I'm kind of in on the Falcons. Not that they're going to be a Super Bowl team, but I think they absolutely can win their division and be a playoff team. I think Stefanski with Tua, I'll say this, I think Tua is the starting QB for the whole season. I don't think Penix gets it back because I don't think Penix will be healthy week 1, and I think Tua will play good enough to keep the job. So with Tua, I think they can go 10-7, 11-6, and just win their division and be a playoff team. I don't think that they have anything to go to like Super Bowl or not, but they definitely have the pieces to go have a great season this year. It is funny they do not have a first round pick because they traded it to LA to move back up into the first round pick this year.
True. Tim, couple follow-ups there. I really liked Atlanta before they got Tua. I already thought Stefanski was an upgrade, but then Tua, I'm just like, I don't know. But then again, he is someone who can at least win like 7 games. If he can get you to 7, you can in theory get to 9 kind of thing. So I see where you're going with that. The Giants, where do they pick in the first round?
5th.
5.
How would you feel if they took Jeremiah Love?
I would hate it because I believe in Scatabo, and I believe that this running back room we have is not like top tier by any means. It's probably like middle of the pack, but it's good enough. I believe in Malik Neighbors as being like the star on the offense. And I think Jackson Dart is plenty good to be a Pro Bowl level QB without Jeremiah Love there. So what I would like them to do is keep doing what they're doing, which is trying to convince teams that they're going to take Jeremiah Love so that somebody comes knocking and says, hey, I'll move up to 5, take your pick so I can get him. And then move back a little bit, get some draft capital. I think they need to go defense here. I like Arvel Reese. I think it's a good pick. They need a linebacker. They just let Okereke go. They did get Edmonds, but I don't think that just like solves the problem. So if they took Love, I'd probably say I hate it. But then like a month later, I'd be like, all right, maybe this is going to work. And then I'd probably see a highlight and I'd be like, all right, we're going to the Super Bowl. But right now, I would say don't draft Love. Keep the smoke show going where you're trying to convince teams that you're going to take him and that you need to take this pick or we will. But I honestly don't think that they're going to take them. I think it's all just smoke. I really do.
So you said the magic words there. You said Super Bowl. How likely do you think it is that you guys could be this year's New England Patriots, where you just skip the line, you can be in at least the conference championship game? How close are you to talking yourself into that with this new regime?
I would say I'm not very close. I know quite a few Giants fans that are like already on board. Like they're just like, no, we are going to a Super Bowl this year. It's going to be us. I don't see it like that. I think best case scenario, we are Washington from 2 years ago, where, like you said, we make it to a championship game and we lose, we get blown out or something like that. I think that's like absolute peak. I think the Patriots version or going and winning a Super Bowl is like not in the cards at all. Um, I would say it's like a 1 or 2% chance that that happens. I would say it's like a 5% chance that they're Washington, and then it's like a 95 or I'd say like what, a 50% chance that they're just like a 500 team or just above a 500 team, and then like a 20% chance that they make the playoffs and lose in week 1.
Funny, because I would have said probably the same thing you just said about the Patriots last year. I thought
That's
they
fair.
could have been a playoff team, and then
Hey,
here they were.
I had brought this up at the end of the season. It was either right at the end of the season or right after the season ended. We had done a duopod, just the two of us, and I said, what are the chances that Jackson Dart is Drake May from this year? And you said you absolutely could not see it, and it was 0%. That's kind of how I'm feeling here now. So, a little deja vu, we're going to get an almost MVP Super Bowl run.
Maybe.
Sounds good. Let me just go put a ticket in real quick.
Yeah, you're right. Go throw that in the FanDuel. Keenan, teams you like right now on this minimal offseason action that we've had, or half the offseason.
Obviously, I'm going to just say a team that we're all going to say, but this isn't going to count because we all have this team. The Lions, last place schedule, made some moves in the offseason. Just put them to the side. They're going to be back to being a playoff contender. That's one. I do like how the Patriots have moved, but that's actually not one of the teams that I'm like the highest on. I think with the draft included, like what you project they're going to be when the draft, I actually kind of like where the Raiders are going. I think they're building a line. I think they have skill positions. And then I think from there, they have a guy at quarterback where I have confidence in Mendoza as a quarterback to be a guy to stabilize them, as I was talking about earlier. But a team that I think is going from like under the radar, that I think with the right draft could actually be back to where they were a couple years back. We just referenced them. I think the Commanders are an interesting team. I think a fully healthy Jaden, hopefully they can get, I know they don't have the greatest of skill position outside of Terry McLaurin, but they're a team where I know obviously there's other needs. They signed a lot of defense. Leo Chanel, they got obviously Rashad White offensively. They're a team that if he's at 7, I might say, hey, what does Jeremiah Love and Jaden Daniels look like in a backfield? Like if he's there at 7,
about it.
no, I'm just saying, like, if they do that, I understand they got Rashad White, but they have Bill Krosky Merritt. But if I can get a game changer like that, give me that game changer, and let's make Jaden Daniels' life easy. Because a lot of times last year, I know obviously he didn't play a whole lot, but a lot of times last year, Jaden Daniels looked like he had to do everything for that team in a Josh Allen fashion for them to get W's, but he also doesn't have the body to withstand the Josh Allen punishment. So get him somebody who can, okay, 3rd and 4, we'll dump it off and you're good to go. That's what they're trying to do with the Austin Eckler and then Bill, like Merritt, just kind of going back and forth. But obviously Eckler got injured. Wait, no, sorry, he was Patriot last. I'm drunk, but like, anyways, regardless of what they were doing. But yeah, so I would get Jeremiah Love. And hopefully that happens in the draft. They do that. We'll be all right.
I would love that. I would love if the Commanders got Jeremiah Love. They maybe should even flip picks with Tim's New York Giants. A few of the teams that pique my interest right now, Tim kind of said it. The Giants definitely pique my interest. I've alluded to this. The Saints are piquing my interest. I even kind of like the Panthers right now in the NFC South. for contenders, I mean, who could not like what the Rams and the Broncos have done this offseason? Like, those are just obvious ones. Who else? There's one other team, actually, that was a contender that I was gonna mention. I don't know, maybe I have dementia. The Bears. Bears is the other one, but I've mentioned them in the past. One other team that's, like, bottom of the barrel that I kinda like, and y'all are gonna think I'm crazy, especially since they haven't drafted yet. Anyone wanna take a guess?
Yeah. Is it in the AFC East?
It's not the Jets. It's
the
gotta
New
be
York
the
Jets.
Jets.
It's the New York Jets. I actually don't mind them with Geno.
I think I wouldn't say Geno like gives me any more like confidence in them, but I like the defensive moves they made to start free agency. So like I think the
That's
defense will be
cool.
better. Whatever.
I could see them being competitive. I'm not saying they're a playoff team by any fucking means, but I feel like they could weasel their way to 7 wins, even as constructed. That's before the draft. I could see it. I could see it.
Listen, that's fine, and I bet there's other people out there in the world that see it too. But this side of the podcast is no.
Let me
allowing
just
it.
ask you this. Let me just ask you
Yep.
this.
Yes.
Aside from aging Aaron Rodgers, who is the best quarterback that Garrett Wilson has played with aside from Geno? Like, this will probably be his best quarterback that he's played with
CJ
aside from Aaron.
Stroud, Ohio State.
I mean, in NFL.
I was joking, but no, that was. But to be quite honest with you, CJ Stroud at Ohio State was the answer, which is kind of which is the point. CJ Stroud at Ohio State would be his next best quarterback because he's played with Zach Wilson and can't even think of the other guy's name. That was so random. I can't.
Justin Fields.
Tim Boyle was the name. Yes,
They don't have a bad offensive line either. Like, I could see a world where they just
if it wasn't quarterback purgatory, sure, and I'm just not gonna. For what I thought about Geno Smith week 18 of last year, my mindset's not changed yet, so I'm gonna wait to see.
He was, in fairness to Geno Smith, his head coach was Pete Carroll Biden. So that's the only thing I will give him.
No, I'm just like the way we felt about him was he was a replacement level guy, and I just don't think a replacement level guy is coming into New York and changing life. That's really what it comes down to.
I didn't say anything about changing life, but I think they could be
but
somewhat competitive.
To me, change to being somewhat competitive. Changing life. I mean, if you're saying 7-8 wins, that was that. I know obviously what you mean though. They're just not going in there doing anything crazy, but yeah, that's my thoughts.
Last topic, we just said teams that we already kind of like. What about teams that we already hate? Keen, we'll start with you.
Teams that I already do not like. I mean, put the Jets there because that's an every year, every minute. Even if they're good, I'm not gonna like them. So you can line up the Jets there. Realistically, though, in that I don't love the Dolphins, but like I don't know if the Dolphins love the Dolphins. To be quite honest with you, and then the Colts. Don't love the Colts. I feel like they're running it back in a situation where they kind of have to because they traded a lot of draft capital, but I don't know if they're good enough to actually like run this back. I think they were more like lightning in a like catch lightning in a bottle rather than them building something.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't love the situation that they're in right now.
Apart from all the bad teams, because obviously you can just say bad teams. Don't love them, like Raiders, of course. That makes sense. 2 good teams that I don't like. Patriots. I think adding why the fuck am I blanking on his name? Guardian Cap.
Romeo Dobbs.
Romeo Dobbs. I literally was just thinking about him like 2 seconds ago. I feel like that's like that was like their 5th choice. And they finally get him and they paid him a good amount of money. I think this kind of takes them out of the A.J. Brown whole sweepstakes, whatever we want to call that. I don't think that they necessarily moved forward, and maybe they have to rely on the draft. They might draft well, and then I change my mind, but like I didn't love their offseason, and now they have to come in and play a first-place schedule. That's going to be tough next year. And I say that not saying like I think they're going to be a bad team. I think that they could miss the playoffs. I think like most outcomes say that they're like a wild card team to me. But I think I'm starting to lean towards the like 9-8 just missing the playoffs road, and I think that's like pretty much worst case scenario apart from May getting hurt or something like that. Another one is San Francisco. This team got older. They signed an old wide receiver to fix their wide receiver problems, and then everybody on their team got a year older. Like this team did nothing to like get fresh. If anything, signing Mike Evans, like, do I think he still has juice? Sure. He still got some juice. Is it juice from 4 years ago? Absolutely not. It's going to be like a couple good games and then a whole lot of like, meh, whatever. Maybe they work because they have enough pieces, but if Kittle doesn't come back like pretty soon, I don't love their chances. I think they can have a season that's like they had 2 years ago where it was just like a season from hell, everything piled up and finish with 6 or 7 wins and just not a good year.
Niners will interest me more after this draft. I'm kind of indifferent on the Niners because they do have to replenish in a lot of skill position areas. And they do at least draft well at receiver, or it seems like they almost don't even have to draft well at receiver. It seems like guys just kind of get open over there. I agree with you, Keenan, on the Colts. The Colts seem stagnant in a season where it's weird because they were aggressive last offseason. They seem confident in Daniel Jones, though, as we talked about before, they invested a lot of money in him. So that's the worry there. Him along with Alec Pierce. But it does seem like they could at least, I mean, you just got to win your division. So it seems like they could be competitive. And if they're kind of waiting it out with Daniel Jones, it could be a gap year, but they've said week 1 ever since he got injured, which is insane to me. And I hate to say it, I do agree with Tim. I think we expected a lot more from the Patriots offseason. And Dobbs is their big get so far, their big signing. I have no doubt they'll probably draft well. But me and Keen have kind of already expressed, like, we're already concerned. My concerns are quietly growing by the day. Even if we draft well, I will be somewhat concerned with the season. I can't wait to see how this challenge is presented to us and how we take on this challenge. But man, it really does seem like we peaked a little too early. Like it would have been okay had we just been like, if we lost that Texans game, even then, really, I mean, with this first place schedule, that Texans game doesn't even matter. With this first place schedule, I'm scared to death this season. I can't lie. That's already looking like a brutal schedule. Another team
I
Keenan
feel a
mentioned,
little
though,
bit more confident.
go ahead,
Just
go
to
ahead.
quickly talk about the Patriots, I feel a little bit more confident than you guys. Now, I definitely understand the skepticism of like, okay, they're not a 14-3, go to the Super Bowl, like kind of like a shoe in, like lock them in there. I like the Vera Tucker signing. I like Dobbs, don't love it. It's one of those things where I do agree with you, Tim, where it's like if you said, hey, Mike Vrabel, write down your 10 top choices at wide receiver out of like realistic options to get, he's probably middle of the list. So you don't love that. Because like Alec Pierce is someone they seem to have more interest in. AJ Brown, obviously, someone they have more interest in. There's other guys there that they seem to be pique their interest a little bit more. The continuous thing that Vrabel does is he likes to build culture, guys, and infrastructure. And a guy like Kevin Byard, I do like going to get him, things like that. So I think they're still
Like
building
that.
a culture there. And I think that's why I like it a little bit more than you guys. But you're right, too. I feel like we're one splash player away. And I've continuously said that since the year before they won this last Super Bowl. We're just that one splash player away on the outside. And I feel like it could come in being Travion Henderson. If he can become that guy, like a really big splash guy, and then Kayshon Boutte can actually develop, then we have enough to make it work. And then that really is where it comes in like, hey, Drake May, how good are you? Because if you are elite quarterback status where you were teetering towards, then this receiving core can work. If you're not and you're good but not great, we might need something else. So I think this is kind of like almost a like Drake May, how good are you kind of season.
Two other teams I dislike real quick. You mentioned them, Keenan. Miami. I just don't understand if you're gonna like strip your team. Why are you paying Malik Willis? I don't understand that. Um, and secondly, maybe this goes without saying, maybe they should be like eliminated from any sort of talk like this. But the Cleveland Browns, if you've got a Deshaun Watson, Shador Sanders QB battle, that is no place you want to be as a franchise. But that seems almost like a moot point because it seems like, all right, they're just going to be bad this year, and then
They,
they'll get a quarterback next year. But it'd
they
be
got
very
rid of
Browns
the
for
good
them to like.
coach.
It'd be very Browns of them to have like somewhat of a successful season and just be like, maybe they're picking like 16 next year and they can't they can't get a quarterback, or they're just on the edge of getting one of those QBs. Who knows?
It would be just like the Browns to start off the year poorly, but go on a nice 4 out of 6 winning streak, then be a 6-11 team, and instead of having a top 3 pick, so you can get your like kind of pick of the litter at QB, they're at 7. And it's like, okay, all the guys you have to get are gone. We'll get a draft capital, and they get like the worst out of the guys. They get the JJ McCarthy out of the Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Drake May, Jaden Daniels kind of class. You're like,
9.
well, makes sense.
Well, fellas, good show. Love talking ball with you guys. Can't wait to talk more NFL as time passes here over the next month and a half. Hey, Keenan and I will be back Wednesday. We almost feel like we need a NFL show name for next year. We'll have to come up with that. We'll have to workshop something. This was Kyle, Keenan, Tim. Again, me and Keenan will be back Wednesday. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Catch us on there. We love the interaction. We will be back very soon. Peace, y'all.